Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Wrestling Podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is good, my TNA Wrestling fam? Welcome to episode 152 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling Podcast. My name is G, and alongside me yet again is the AJ Francis to my KC Navarro. He is my Eddie Edwards to my guy in the front row. And most importantly, he is the cope to my edge. It is Lucha, everybody. What's up, Lucha?
What's happening, everybody? I missed y'all. And you know who else missed y'all? Barry Scott. So, one time for the one time. The University of Southern California Trojans basketball program and the New York Islanders present TNAIW Treehouse Trailer. We are nonsense.
Love it. Love it. I hope you guys do enjoy our nonsense as well. It's good to be back with you guys. Nearly a year after closing the doors. We had that little Slammiversary fun in between. But it's good to be back with you guys. And obviously, as you can see, there's a few things that stop us from doing it on a regular basis, particularly the technology. I don't know if I'm still skipping or not, but hope you guys rock with us. I hope you guys look forward to seeing us on the screens again. And as Lucha alluded to, I think we're going to get back in the treehouse at least to have some fun. I missed you guys. I miss you, Lucha, and Johnny, and everybody, and the TNAIW fam. So we're going to look to do something in the new year that's fun and not as time sensitive, I guess we'll say.
Yeah. Just come through, kick it, pop out, and you know what I'm saying? Let's have fun with this shit. Like it kind of wasn't fun after a while, you know what I'm saying? So let's get back to our roots. Let's just have fun.
There we go. I love it. Because that's what this is supposed to be about. And I think I said last time, I don't want to jeopardize my fandom by doing this show, but the only thing that could ruin it is ourselves. And I think we have a lot to talk about just I think it's a good time is what I'm getting at for us to come back as we generally are unbiased, transparent, and honest, but also the more positive vibe of the community, I like to think.
Now, if anyone knows me and my preferences, though, like we haven't caught up in a while.
Yeah.
I don't, like to take. I don't like to be that guy to like put himself on an invisible pedestal or whatever. But if there was an award for happiest fan of wrestling of their favorite wrestling company in 2024, damn it, that award went to me. Because 24 was beautiful. TNA was back. West Side Gun and TNA link up. And at the end of the year, the cherry on fucking top.
I'm waiting for it.
The diamond is back.
Lucha got his wish of Tessa back, man. That is one of the things we have to talk about, and that's one of the things I was alluding to as well. It just there's so many topics that have happened or things that have happened since we've been gone. That I think we might have a different perspective on. So I'm excited to see your perspective. I hope they're excited to see our perspective. Either way, we're going to get into an old-fashioned Impact review. Nailed that. Take some pit stops along the way to talk about the players. There were a lot on the screen this Thursday that will be exiting soon, or we think they will be. We'll talk about that. We'll hit the talents leaving, pay cuts, all that jazz, as well as the talents that may be incoming, as well as who we would want to income. To income? Yeah. It's not like riding a bike, folks. We'll get to the LA and NY venues, as Lucha already talked about a little bit. Talk about ticket prices, live episodes, the Canada deal, merch deal, and some fun things in between. You ready to get into it, Lucha?
Speaking of the merch deal, have you seen... when's the last time you've been on TNA merch or Shop TNA, whatever the fuck we're going to call it? I don't call it Shop TNA.
I'd rather call it Shop TNA, but if they want to buy stuff, it's tnamerch.com.
Yeah.
But it'll always be Shop TNA to me. I actually went on today because I saw that or heard that thing from Matt Hardy talking about there might be a merch deal, easier access to getting merch. And I go on and there's fucking slides. So maybe it's already begun.
Yeah. We got fucking slides, dog. Like I can get a TNA, like a pink TNA hoodie, which I 100% plan on doing for the record. You know what I'm saying? I'm already rocking the pink shamelessly. Shouts out to Bret Hart and West Side Gun. But no, that I was rather impressed with what I seen, and then that ain't even it, dog. We still got the blacksmith joints, the blacksmith line dropping.
It drops on the 19th, I believe, of January.
I think they're doing pre-orders. That's when the pre-orders are starting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went on the site, and I mean, all they had was the jacket that everybody and their mom was wearing. I did see something about a football jersey that's potentially going to be on there too. So I'm like, ooh, we're gonna have to see. And let me back up for the record. Football, since this is a UK based company.
There you go. There you go. Shout out to our.
We're talking soccer football, not American football, but soccer uniforms are fire. So I'm with it.
I just found my Desmond Wolf soccer jersey, football jersey. Yeah, man. And I thought I donated or gave it away, and I was really upset for the longest time. And I went through an old box and found it, and I'll have to wear it next time we do a show.
Here's the depressing question: can you fit it?
That was the tagline at the end there. I don't know if I'll fit. I don't know if I'll fit it still. But we're gonna try.
I got a G Unit shirt, like a brown G Unit shirt that I legit was wearing in 7th grade that still looks huge on me today.
Yeah. So you plateaued. Yeah.
Somehow.
I did not.
G grew.
All right. Enough of our nonsense. What's up, guys? Hope you enjoy.
Here, what are you talking about?
That's it. It's a conversation between two friends talking nonsense about him. TNA Wrestling. Yeah. Anyways.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. It's been a while, man. I'm just going to soak it in. All right. Let's get into the show. Right, 12 hours later, we're going to get into this Lucha. Let's hit up Impact on Access TV review. First, there's no good transition in or out of this, so we're just going to mention it briefly. Not out of disrespect or lack of love, but just what do you say here? RIP Jax Dane. Sad situation being so young, man. And just being on our screens, it makes it even harder. But all the love to his family, friends, and fans. And yeah, there's not much we can add to this. So we're going to try to keep going here and keep the positivity and the hype and excitement going into Impact on Access TV. But we do want to acknowledge that, obviously. But from there, we go into a final resolution recap. And what a final resolution it was. Obviously, it was, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, about like two, yeah.
Something like that.
2-3 weeks.
But still right there in the back of my head, man. Just what a great show I thought it was. A lot of new things happening. It felt like a final resolution right before Genesis. So well done on their part. But we're going to go into our intro, and I'm going to mention this because I'm going to try to take our time and hit every little thing since we really haven't talked to each other. Well, we talked to each other, but not in this regard. But talk to them, the listeners or one-time listeners of the show, because there's a lot of things that happened since we've been doing this that I want to make a mention to, and one of them is the intro having the cross the line music back. Absolutely love it. I'm still waiting on some rain and some floodlights, but right here is a nice little nostalgia piece for me. I always enjoy it.
In this world, I find a way to cross the line, my man.
Love it. But from here, we're going to go to a TNA common place. I don't know. Knockouts are walking. We're walking towards the main event. We see him walking there. We'll get to that because it's obviously it's in the main event. Spitfire, Jordynne Grace, and Masha versus Elegance Brand, and Tasha and Rosemary. So putting the spotlight on the knockouts, which I think is important. And we'll get to all obviously talents leaving and stuff. But it was a nice showcase, so I don't want to get too far ahead. First up, though, was our number one contender, NXT award winner, TNA award winner, viral sensation Joe Hendry. And Lucha, let's start with him and take a second. He's obviously going to talk about facing Nick Nemeth at Genesis and how the crowd believes, and this crowd does, and every crowd he is in front of definitely believes in Joe Hendry. I would say that we believed in him since day one. There are things that we were not sure about, like, how do you keep doing banger after banger as a face, right? With no heel, how do you keep doing? And he's really knocked it out of the park, man. Your thoughts on the rise of Joe Hendry, and I bring this up even though I don't believe so, but it was something that Bully Ray and Tommy talked about. Is it too late for his rise, or is this just the right time?
I mean, weren't they saying the same thing about Cody Rhodes when he lost to Roman Reigns? Not at WrestleMania 39. It was like, oh, you missed the boat. It's too late. You got to do
Right.
it here and da da da. Fast forward to when he won the title at the next WrestleMania. The moment was still as big as we thought 39 would have been, if
Right.
not bigger. So,
Yeah.
like, I always thought and I always believe, and I've said this on the show many times, with the face, it's about the chase, dude.
Yeah.
Chase is like you want them, you want it's their journey up. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
he doesn't need to. I'm not saying the ship has sailed on it, but there's still time.
I agree with you. And that's the thing is the face is the rise, the heel's the fall, right? You want to see
Yeah,
and with Joe Hendry, I compare it to Josh, but I think Cody's an even better example because this is a white meat baby face. Like Joe is getting, like we just said, he's doing this through song, through different fun things. To me, and I know this comparison's a little whatever, but he's got to have a Cena like quality to him because we've said this before. In the squared circle, he's good, he's solid, and he's been working on it. But is wrestling his thing? You know, he's an entertainer, all around entertainer. And when you have that, you need the story, and then you need the villains to come up against him. And now we have
and yeah, it's dope you brought up Cena because like look at what happened with Cena when he was in both the rise and just him being at the
mm,
top. He kept fucking winning, and after a while, that shit got boring because it's like, damn, bro, lose. And it
right.
would always be whole match. Cena's getting his ass whooped, and then five moves doom, 1, 2, 3. Cena wins. LOL.
Yeah,
We
and
got
you know,
bored of that. You want this to be something that lasts. You don't want it to like. Not saying Cena was a flash. You know, he's fucking
right,
Cena.
for
He's a
sure.
goat. But looking at it in real time, it's like you want it to sustain for a little bit. So don't
And
give it
that's the
to us yet.
key. That's the key. If you get it all on day one, it makes it harder for those fans to stay with a that kind of baby face, I feel like. And they're doing a good job of setting up people and obstacles for him when he does inevitably win the title, which I think he will at Genesis. Um, they obviously has the Nick Nemeth thing here. Ryan Nemeth, we're going to speak about in just a second, is a nuisance. You have Kazarian with the trophy. You have all these different people. You have people from NXT. You have all these different adversaries that need to be built up and be ready for someone when they do win a title like that, right? You can't just have them. JBL as another person, another obstacle there. The system. So you have all these things that have kept Joe Hendry down. Now he can, when he does finally have it, he can fight those adversaries. So I thought they did a great job of setting this up. I understand why we'd want him to win it earlier when it, this craze first happened. But Nemeth had to get his title run in there. You don't want to, hot shot that. But also, maybe this sets up for a Nemeth heel turn after a Joe Hendry victory. But we have some time to speak of that. But speaking of Nemeth, his brother, his little brother, is going to come out and beat that point home. He is the little brother of Nick Nemeth, our champion. Quickly, your thoughts on Ryan Nemeth? I'm sure we're on the same page. Maybe
He's Nick Nemeth's brother.
the end.
The end.
Yeah, look, he's going to be there. Okay. He looks the part. His this annoying character development is definitely a plus for me, and gives him a reason to be out there. If it is going to help eventually Nick turn, or it's just to get him over as this whiny, annoying heel with menagerie music still, I believe. Um,
And
you
then
know,
it's also like at least with this feud, like he can be used as the heater, like you know what I'm saying? Because
yep,
Nick Nemeth's the face. It's not like he's attacking Joe from behind and talking shit on him every week.
yep,
So if you want to keep him as the face, you can easily throw his brother
yep.
to kind of just be the heat for this one.
Same page, man. Same page. So I think he a useful idiot.
Yeah,
A useful idiot. But he's going to talk some shit, and it says he doesn't believe in Joe Hendry. He believes in his big brother, and rightfully so, right? But this is going to have does Santino come out here? No, or they just go right into the Rhino.
Yeah.
and Nemeth match. So either way, I don't know if I have written that down, but either way, it goes right into Ryan Nemeth versus Rhino. Rhino's going to take the DQ loss here when he uses the chair that was introduced by Ryan Nemeth. More on that later. But really quick, couple things that came to mind for me, and we're going to try to hit the people leaving as we come across them on the show. Uh, but I thought this was Rhino's last match. Obviously, we'll find out there's one more, and I was like, man, what a shitty way to go a steel chair DQ. Um,
I
but
mean, yeah,
yeah,
there's that, but I mean, my man just got into the hall, so like at this point, fuck it. He's
right. And
he's gotten the career stamp of approval, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
So anything he does at this point is just extra credit.
Yeah, it would just been a weird way for him to leave. Oh, chair shot, DQ, bye. But we see him down, we'll talk about him in a couple segments later. But I do want to point out that Tom, man, and as you said, he got his Hall of Fame induction. Tom putting him over on the show, and I really enjoyed that because it made it feel like maybe this was his last moment, but we do obviously have one more. But it was cool to hear the accolades of Rhino being spoken over in commentary. But as we go throughout this, we're going to hit those people, as I said, Rhino being one of them. I don't want to get into the pay cuts. We'll get to that later and the hot topics. But as far as Rhino going, I don't want to chalk it up to is it a loss? Of course, it's a loss. Tom even said so. As he's in a locker room, he's a great leader. He's a great vet. He's a TNA, I won't say original, but was there before we were, big time. Um, so the loss of Rhino for you, where are you at with that?
I mean, enjoyed him, and I've enjoyed his career, you know what I'm saying, from his debut with lining up with Jarrett, the Bound for Glory, where he won Monsters Ball, then a gauntlet for the gold, then the gold, all in the same night. Like that was fine. They got that playlist on TNA Plus. I was watching it the
Yep.
other day.
Yep.
But like, and then of course, who can forget the famous fight with Hernandez for the ball of money?
Oh yeah, Impact Wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, that wad of cash, man, was the most prestigious award in Impact Wrestling during the pandemic. I'm convinced.
Hey man,
But
with all these
no,
with all these pay cuts, it might still be the.
also can't forget the VBD run. You know, he got him another tag title run out of that one also. So he's got the accolades, but it's like it's not like he was Rhino ain't Rhino. Like he ain't hitting motherfuckers with Rhino drivers off the apron through tables. So
He definitely fills a vet role, especially a TNA original role. And I've always, from his days with Carino and Jack Victory to now, I've always fucked with Rhino. So is it a huge loss? It depends on how you look at it. We'll get to that when we talk about pay cuts and where the payroll is going to go. But I'm going to miss the music. It's still that nostalgia of him coming out, but who knows? Maybe we'll see him down the road. Speaking of that, there's always room for returns because next up we're with Gia and she's talking with Jordynne and they're talking Tessa. So we're going to obviously talk Tessa in a little bit. But as we talk about Rhino leaving, we kind of got to talk about Jordynne leaving. Obviously, this is going to be a big loss. But I like how they maybe, I don't know if there was the original plan or not, but kind of went to plan, I don't know if you want to call it plan B, but to a side route. Instead of Rosemary maybe taking her out, now it's going to be Tessa's feud that looks like it'll be her last with this company.
it's one of those things. There's a lot of these in wrestling where the original plan doesn't go right for whatever reason, and then you got to switch, and
Mhm.
then the plan B ends up being a million times better than plan A.
Hey, some things just work out the way they're supposed to,
Yeah,
right?
fate
Yeah,
has
and
a
we
funny
talked.
way of fate.
Yeah, we talked about this, and we'll obviously talk about Tessa as we said, but Jordan's going to be a big loss no matter how you chalk it up.
Yeah,
But I think this is one of those things where she's doing business on the way out. We kind of seen the rise of Jordan. We've seen her come into who she is now, and if there's a silver lining, it's we're going to see her even level up more when she goes on to that next thing, which I believe will be NXT and WWE. Um, and also, it's one of those things where we're already prepared for it a little bit, man. She's done everything she can in TNA. Would I love her to stay around, for forever? Of course I would. But it's the same with anyone else that has come back after taking an excursion, if you want to call it that. Um, it's I don't know. You can't hate on it.
And plus, with how the landscape is in wrestling now, it's not necessarily a goodbye.
Right.
It's basically see you later. You know.
Yeah, especially if it's NXT.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, she's not going to be a mainstay, but it's like, we're going to see her again. So, and then yeah, look at her rise, and it's like we had someone who came through and dominated the whole damn roster for years as a face.
Right.
Now we about to get that same aggression and that same energy out of a heel.
Right.
Looking at it from kayfabe in the division, y'all in trouble.
Well, are you saying that she's coming to be a heel, or next time we see her, you think she'll come in as a heel?
I was talking about Tessa being the one to replacing Jordynne.
You're going full
basically.
circle. I gotcha. Yeah. No, I have that at the bottom. Obviously, we're gonna talk Tessa, as I said, but it is a full circle moment for this feud to be the one. I mean, they're the Rough Riders. They're to get so, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I'm with you. Next up are the Rascals, who I'm happy are back on track. What a year they had, man. And they're talking the Hardys. They're talking Genesis. The Hardys come in with those, man, I gotta say, beautiful belts. Just beautiful, man. I can't get over. They're probably one of my favorite ones that came out of this crop, if not the. But anyways, they come in with
fire.
They are, man. They are. But they're gonna come in, and the Hardys are, and they're gonna make this happen. So Hardys versus Rascals at Genesis for the World Tag Team titles. Lucha, we've talked about it throughout the years. We've loved some of their work in TNA. We dislike some of their work in TNA. But the Hardys right here, man, what a lake of reincarnation that they went into.
Yeah, for real. It's like they're the version of the Hardy Boys that we knew and loved. Evolved.
Yes.
They didn't, do okay, we're just gonna be two singles coming back together. Like it felt like the first run was, we're not gonna be broken.
Fair.
We're gonna be Hardy Boys. And I feel a very big heel turn coming out of them too, because it's like, it seems like with every promo they cut after successfully defending the belts, they started to get a little more arrogant with each one. At least how I'm picking them up.
That's fair.
Go back and watch the one from this after they beat the System in Final Resolution. Right. Matt and Jeff had a little hair on their chest when they were saying some shit. It's like, this ain't normal Hardy Boys.
Well, I definitely think, especially with them signing for a year, and Matt on his show always putting TNA over and talking about how great 2025 is going to be for TNA. One, I'm happy to have them on board, but two, you have to assume that there's going to be some arcs that happen with these guys, and I'm excited. I'm here for it. Happy to have them back. Happy to have them against the Rascals, and I still probably keep the Hardys retaining, but maybe that's where the turn happens. But either way, those belts look beautiful, and they look beautiful on them. So I'm happy where we're at. Next up is Kushida, who is going to leave us. And this is the opposite of my feelings about that Rhino match. I was like, man, Rhino's leaving on a DQ. Kushida's leaving on a loss that was an absolute pay-per-view banger, man. Look, I've always been a fan of Kushida. I wasn't, obviously, when he was in the world title picture, but that was more of, we needed somebody to be there after Josh's injury. But it's not my dislike for him or his talents, because X Division title run, would love to see that. Tag team would love to see him, do some things. But as far as him piecing out, and obviously the door's open for a later return, I just think it makes sense. We're trying to trim back to use that money elsewhere. We'll talk about that. But this is the way to go out, one, and two. I think we'll see him again. I don't think this is a one time or a goodbye, final goodbye.
I mean, I wasn't feeling the same as far as this being a we won't see you again thing. I honestly was feeling, to me, that this was pretty much going to be it as far as him and TNA. But I'm with you everywhere else. The run was fire.
Is you think this is it because just the relationship with Scott was the reason he was here, or just because he's going to focus on New Japan primarily, and that we'll call it a day?
Oof.
Oh, fair enough.
Oof.
Fair enough. Yeah, the deal always felt like it was a Scott favor. I'll say that. When we were trying to sign guys that to make some buzz around the rebrand, um, Kushida's signing was one of them, and it did feel like that. So I'm there with you, but he's gonna face Ace Austin like we in a banger like we mentioned. Ace Austin taking the victory here with the fold. I told you this a couple months back. I felt like Ace Austin was going to be the one that came after Moose, besides AJ Styles. Because as much as I'm not a fan of the my partner got hurt and seriously injured, mind you, um, let's use that as a baby face thing. But they did it with Ray and Eddie, not to compare it to that. But I'm never a huge fan of this. But I thought the promo work Ace did after this and talking about the world title and then getting interrupted by Moose, and then the fire he showed when he said, I was a 3-time champ, I could be 4. I actually like this. I don't think they're prostituting the situation out. Um, but how do you feel about it? Do you think Ace is the one that's going to take Moose down? And without getting into spoilers, the X Division is here to stay. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, nah. I actually don't think Ace is gonna be the one to get it off of him, but like the fact like you're throwing Ace in the situation is like I just don't want y'all to forget like I do this X Division shit too.
Yeah.
So and then that also gives Moose a credible X Division win
Mhm.
over I want to call him a legend, but like as far as the tops that's still in the company,
Yeah.
Ace is for sure like top 3. So
Him, Trey, and Bay held down that X Division when they were building it back up.
yeah,
So
just
I'm
give me
there with
Rohit. Just give me Rohit, and then I'll be happy.
Rohit as well. But yeah, so this is where Santino comes out, and he's going to make that official. Ace Austin versus Moose for the X Division title at Genesis. And
Real quick on this.
yeah,
I don't have anything against the Santino gimmick, the whole shtick,
mm,
like his mispronunciation of names and all that nonsense. I'm
yeah.
cool with that. But when it comes to serious shit like announcing matches, let's not. Can we get it right for that one moment?
Okay.
It kind of takes the hit out of the announcement for the match. It's like, wait, who?
Yeah. Okay. I'll say fair point on that. But it's funny you say that because when the announcement came in, I was like, Santino's going to be the DOA, and I'm obviously we've had Dusty, we've had Callis, we've had tons of DOAs over the time that have really knocked it out of the park for me. Um, and I was like, this feels like a Scott thing, and not bashing Scott whatsoever, but it felt like a, why don't we just put Darren McCarty in there or whatever the hell his name is? Um, but damn, man, I wasn't a fan of the E when he was on his high there, Santino. So when he came over, I'm pleasantly surprised and have been continuously happy with him in that role. At the same time, I could say fair point to what you're saying because when it is something that, and we just had that emotional, I'm doing this for Chris kind of thing. Maybe a little seriousness there. I feel you there.
Yeah, get it right there. Like, and then because he'll do that in other situations,
Right.
but it's
And it
like,
works.
yeah, make this one of those where you're like
Yeah, that's fine.
serious.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I am cool with that. But I am also happy at the reaction he gets from the crowd lately as well. For an authority figure and especially a face one, you don't get that as much. So I think he's been hitting it for me, all the notes, but I can agree with you there. We're gonna
If
swing.
if I wanted any replacement for Santino as DOA,
Mm.
I want Shark Boy, and I want him to be on his shit like Stone Cold when he was the sheriff.
Oh my God. On a four-wheeler. We had him at Slam or episode 1000. He was the DOA. I thought you were going to go somewhere else. If Double J hadn't re-signed for his John Cena impression tour, I would have loved to see him come back in authority role. But I'm happy we're at Santino now, and I'm sure we can throw out some names. But we're going to go backstage to EY and Macklin. Macklin's pacing. EY's there. and eventually joined by Gresham. This is going to start the system just come into the shot, and we have a brawl. Well, because why not?
I mean that I'm not saying I'm okay with it, but it's believable if you're thinking about it in the realm of you're watching a wrestling show. Like you got
Yeah,
three people talking about some shit, and then some assholes walk by, ruin your camera time, and then
yeah.
just start. They
Young
happen to
Buck.
be at the wrong place at the wrong time, also because EY, Gresh, and Macklin, their energy was up, like they were ready to
In their
swing on
They were
something.
in their fields, yeah. Yeah, it felt very young buckish trying to get that $200 in the back shot. Remember, it was this generation we always trying to get on camera. Um, I will say that there's a lot of talking segments. There's a lot of storyline pushing segments. Obviously, with Genesis only being 2 weeks away or whatever it is, so I understand it. But there wasn't one until one we'll get later that I was really offended by. I thought you had to do this, and at the same time, they made meaningful interactions that push storylines along. So I'm okay with this. But yeah, nothing. It's nice to talk about a segment where no one's leaving here. I don't think any of these guys are thought of to
Gresham,
possibly be departing. Maybe Gresham. Um, but Gresham's had quite a ride this year, and I hope they keep him in this form of him. I hope he does stay a while. I love Gresham's work. You know that I'm a mark for the dude. Uh, but I'm hoping. I got my fingers crossed. But the wifey's leaving. I know his contract is coming up or whatever the situation is with that. So
the crimes against pro wrestling for as long as John Gresham has been with TNA, dealing with TNA, for him to not have held the X belt at least once for at least 21 days.
yeah,
Ugh.
there's a lot of stop and go, man. And for one reason or another, injury or storyline or they were trying all these different things with them. The best Gresham is just go out there and fuck up shit, Gresham, man, and put on a
And twist,
classic.
make pretzels. Just go out there and make pretzels.
Right, right. We're getting back to that. I just hope he's here for a little bit longer so we can get that. But let's keep going here. Speaking of wifey, Jordan's backstage waiting. She's waiting for Tessa at the gate. I love this, man, and I'll keep dropping little nuggets till we get to Tessa. But I thought it was even good where everybody's crying about, oh, look at Tessa's not even in the Christmas knockout photo. They're not even saying Tessa's signed. They're playing a game here. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know anyone. I don't know anything backstage, obviously, but from all intents they're rough riders. I think they're together. I think they know each other. I think they're friendly together. I think she might have even pushed for Tessa to come back. But the fact that we're playing it like this, like they hate each other, I think it's smart working, man. I miss these kind of
Hell,
feuds.
hell, even if what you said is false and what came out was true and that there was pushback from Jordan for
Oh,
real
Sean Ross Sapp.
and and she wasn't really down with it. Even still, the fact that she's willing to come and do this business,
Mhm.
honestly, that makes it a little bit better.
Fair, fair. Either way, it's exciting and it's blurring that line, which we rarely get nowadays. Next up is a match of the week, which I don't think we've had one of these in a while. Maybe we have, but DCC versus Decay versus the Hardys was the match of the week with Josh and Pope on commentary. That was a one thing about TNA, man, is they could show you a clip from every different era and it brings you to a totally different mindset. Like I was just like, oh
Yeah,
wait, what the hell's it just was weird, man, but that happened.
it's a shot of
So
caffeine for you, daddy.
the shot of caffeine for you. I miss the Pope, I really do. Uh, Next, though, is the segment that I was, or no, this wasn't the segment I was annoyed with because it served a purpose as well. We have Ryan with the doctor about crying about the chair shot. Nick comes in and he tells or Ryan tells his version of the story to Nick. Rhino comes in, Santino comes in, Joe Hendry comes in. We set up a match for next week. Um, but good to see that Rhino gets one more match on the way out. That will probably end in a pinfall of some kind. But I thought this was simple storytelling that progressed everyone enough to make sense and deem having a spot here.
Yeah,
But this right here, this next one for me was the segment of segments when it came to spitting facts and just talking shit. And it was Santana coming out. He's got Josh's headgear, and from look to the crowd reaction, to the promo, I think this is the best Santana's looked since he came in. I've been a big advocate for Santana when we did the other show before, over a year ago. We were talking that we couldn't wait for his free agency to come into play. Hopefully he would come over because him and Josh should be foes that go for a lifetime. They have all that history, LAX in the North, and we get it here. Maybe it's on Josh's way out, unfortunately. We'll talk about that in a second. But Josh is going to come out with Sinner and Saint, the TNA, the Northern Armory. And this is a back and forth promo that I just loved. It had the perfect tempo, it had back and forth. Each guy got to say their things. Santana calls Josh a hashtag we want Scott soy boy, which I thought was which I thought was lovely in lesser terms. But this hits it on the head for me in a multitude of ways. And they're going to set up a gauntlet next week where I'm guessing Josh gets his headgear back. But your thoughts on the segment in general before we break off and talk about Josh and other things?
And like you said, it was a segment full of facts on both sides. Josh was spitting facts. It's like you left here, and what'd you do? Not a damn thing. How many belts you win? Meanwhile, over here holding it down. Yeah.
It was good stuff. And I'll break it down to you and ask some questions. Obviously, they mentioned LAX in the North. I'm a firm believer in Santana. I said that before. I think he could do great things. At the same time, I feel like he could be a good guy with people around him, as he was with LAX, but in a different way. Maybe he's the leader this time. And to maybe even the odds, an LAX return would be cool. There's some people that could definitely use that platform as well. We bring in some new cats as well. I think it's a perfect opportunity to do that for Santana and give him that extra push he could use. And then as for Josh, man, obviously the writing's on the wall. We'll talk about that in just a second. But if he is on his way out, what a smart thing to do by sticking him with a tag team that we need to elevate or we want to showcase. And an inevitable loss of him would mean they probably turn on him, right? They like a pack of wolves. Pick on his bones before he leaves. So I just think there's a lot of opportunity here for a bunch of different things to play. Obviously, they're going to face each other at Genesis, and I don't know any spoilers, but it makes sense that this isn't the end. And that's where I think LAX would be a great come up with, or a point for a come up with. But let's talk about Josh in general leaving. What are the over under you think he's out of here?
Honestly, I kind of feel like he's gonna stay. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be more so he's gonna go see what people are talking about, then come to TNA is like, here's what they're talking about. What can you do versus that? And it's as simple as if TNA can't, which they should, they better. Then if TNA can't, then he'll walk. But I feel like it's very likely he's gonna stay.
That he's gonna stay?
Yeah.
What's your percentage?
I say about 54.
Okay. I'm going to go 15% that he stays. There's too many things. We're not even talking about Jade leaving or telling her that they're not renewing. I think if you listen to, well, one, he got beat with every one of his finishers in a row and a set of pay-per-views a couple months back after they were going to put the world title on him nonetheless. So I think the sign of, hey, I'm definitely testing the waters was there. Didn't mean he was leaving. The Jade thing doesn't mean he's leaving. But if you listen to that Chris Van Vliet podcast he did, and he actually ironically talks about Santana and the conversation they had, I don't think there's anything left for Josh to do right now in this company. And I don't think an amount of money, if we have it or not, which I believe we do, I believe that's why we're asking people to take pay cuts. We'll talk about that. And all these TV deals and merch deals. I think we have it and we would love to use it on him, but I think the writing on the wall is for him to leave. And in that podcast, he talks about Santana saying, I want all the tag belts. I needed to grow. I needed to do something. I want it on a bigger platform. We can't offer him that. Can we offer a bigger platform in this new year? Yeah, there's going to be some, bigger crowds. But I just think right now he's done everything he's could do. And the only hope I have, it's not a matter of I hope he stays. Of course I do. But I hope he goes to WWE/NXT. I would hate to see him wasted on AEW. and that's no disrespect to that company, but I'm glad. I hope he gets paid. I know he will get paid regardless. I just want him to showcase what he does best, which is, I mean, at this point, everything, from talking to walking, weapon, to performing in the ring. This dude is the cream of the crop. But unfortunately, I think he's out of here, man. I do. Um, and like I said, at least they attach Sinner and Saint to him now, who, by the way, for me have very much Wolves vibes, like that early Wolves, American Wolves vibe to them. I just, I'm not okay with him leaving, but I'm okay if they set it up the right way, and they get theirs in the end result. But
Facts.
yep.
And then a part of me though, I'm like, when you say that you've done all you could do, like, do people mean that from a pure accolade standpoint, or maybe a storytelling standpoint? Because like, there's stories that we can still tell with Josh that'll like keep him,
Yeah,
I
no,
guess, kind of hungry, like especially this budding if you want to break it down to as simple as the North versus LAX revisited, but
right.
people are in different positions. Like when you were talking about the whole thing with the whole build for Genesis with them two, I'm like,
Mm,
in my head, it would be fucking dope if we get the return of Lockdown. You get
mm.
you get TNA versus Santana and his new LAX, and that's the Lethal Lockdown. You could just do a 3-on-3 that way. Like, that story would be incredible to me.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I actually would hope they go 4-4 and they each add a knockout to it because I think Tasha Steeles and LAX would be dope and it would help her out, who kind of just flounders
Jody
for me.
Threat turn on Danny Luna, and she be the
Yeah.
female for TNA.
We need 2 tag teams, Lucha, in the knockouts tag.
Yeah,
We'll
we
get to
do.
them.
We
We'll get
do.
to them.
We do.
No, I like your booking and I love your thought. It's not a matter of me, like if I had the pencil, I could think of 100 stories for Josh to do. So it's not that. I think it's accolades and the wanting more. And if you're going to give me the same amount of money, but I can tackle new things, I think that's where I would take my, especially he's near 40 because people could go into their 50s plus now, but um, this is one of the big contracts for him. So I think he would take the chance while he still has the youth.
If there's, I'm just at a simple belief of, if TNA can give him $1 that he likes, or not that he likes, I guess that's a weird way to put it, but like if
I
TNA
know
can give
you.
him a good, if they can match or even beat what he can get elsewhere to
Mhm.
stay here, and not only just stay here, but like look at where his spot would be if he
Yeah.
stays. He stays. He's like top 3 cat in the damn company.
Yeah.
Versus if you take lesser money, say like if they were able to beat what WWE's paying, wanting to pay
Mhm.
him for him
I,
to be.
I think if the money's comparable, even if it's less, the climb, like we said in his kayfabe way of his climb to the championship, it is the real life mentality as well. That climb to something new, even if it's the NXT title, even if it's the US title, the IC, whatever it is, or even eventually the world, that climb is he wants to prove something himself, man. While he's still got it,
True.
you know. But
And last point I'll throw. There is one. I mean, I guess you could say there's one thing he hasn't done. He hasn't won the TNA World Title. Not when it was TNA. So
semantics. But yes,
yeah.
I feel you.
So
You're
there's
making.
certain there's shit.
Hey, there's no shame in that. You make your pitch to Josh. Josh, stay. But if you don't, we understand. Uh,
Do what makes you happy, fam. But I'm just looking at it through a fan's perspective, but that's the only thing I got.
fair enough. Next up, we're going to go back to Jordynne. The knockouts, including Spitfire, are going to tell her it's time for our match. Let's get going. Santino's going to put a security guard in place there to lock down the fort. More on that in a second. But right after that, we go to a Kaz who, for me, is hitting on every note, man. This is the best version of Kaz for me. And I've been I'm a day oneer, man. Like from the future to the Bentley bounce era with Matt Bentley, but what was his name? Michael Shane and Tracy. This is my favorite Kaz, and he cuts a promo
So
here. What's up?
so you're like me Just kind of slightly skip to when JDC came out. So you probably appreciated that same line that JDC that said when they were talking about like a catchphrase for
The
Leon.
future.
Yeah, nah, that'll
Yeah.
never get.
Yeah, I'll never go. Yeah, I liked it, man. That was such an odd segment, but it made sense, and it did something that we're going to talk about when it comes to talent leaving and incoming. Just like I talked about Sinner and Saint, we're surrounding veterans or people that, whatever, however you want to put it, that can elevate this crop of guys who are just waiting in the wings to get that extra screen time. And the time that we're going to get um, dedicated to Leon Slater because there's more space for him to play. Um, it is a positive for me. And we're going to get to see Leon Slater here get the opportunity to carry Kaz's trophy, which he denies. Um, but it's cool that Leon Slater won the award for person to look out for. That award never really works out when it comes to the grand scheme of things. But I feel like this time it will. And it's cool that he wants the coaching, but he doesn't want to be the errand boy of Kaz.
Yeah, that's a fun little. We'll see if they actually like. Oh shit!
Sorry, I had to plug in my computer was dying there. But what were you saying? Sorry.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, it was cool. It was cool with this. It'll be cool to see if this dynamic continues on and that he actually does like accept coaching. But then when he tries the big lead on Leon's like, "Yo, bro, I told you that's not me," and then that kind of helps build the match. A
I'm
fun
here
way
for
of the
whatever, man.
storytelling.
Give me more Leon Slater on my TV. Give me more Kaz. I'm happy. And throwing JDC there for the comic relief at the end is good for me. So next segment is going to win my award for most unneeded segment of the show, and it wasn't bad by any means. But Nick Nemeth's going to come out, Dick Zipper himself, and he's talking Joe Hendry. He's still playing the face here, kind of condescending a little bit, but he's going to talk before his brother comes out and says, "Oh, it's good to see you." Like it just, we already saw it. They already saw each other. We already got the same points across that we already got across. So this just felt unneeded. But of course, good to see the world champion in front of the crowd. But are you on the same page with that?
1,000,000% on the same page with that one.
All right. And I wanted to give a shout out because I think we mentioned, obviously, we got to talk about it at when we did the Slammiversary one. So we did get to talk about Nick Nemeth coming into the company. But with that being said, still, I want to say I'm still happy Nick Nemeth's here. I'm happy he's world
Yes,
champion. I think he's killed everything that he's done, getting the best matches out of everyone he's wrestled, including AJ Francis, who we'll talk about in a little bit. Um, the Moose match was my only thing, but we talked about that. Moose is a flippy floppy guy, so sometimes the doesn't all add up. But there's never been a thing on the show that Nick Nemeth has done that has been offensive to me. So I'm happy he's there, and I don't want to just glance over it as we anoint Joe Hendry, but still the worst segment of the night.
100%.
All right, we're gonna go backstage quick, and the security guard is down, and that racist Tessa strikes again. I was like, "Why, man? They're trolling us here. They gotta be trolling us." They could have put
That
some.
was most definitely damn bro, read the room thing there. Like, I mean, not saying I'm on either side of the shit, but it's like, bro, you're not helping the people who are anti Tessa here. You
Right,
are
you're
you
stirring
you
the
gave
pot.
it you gave him a fucking Blake Griffin layup. God,
Oh man, I was like, put Norv Turner or Norv Furnham there, whatever his name is. Not Norv Turner, Norv Furnham.
I'm just
Anyways,
mad I didn't see it because I know she probably like blocked him the fuck out.
oh man, I mean, she did to Gia, man. Once again, we'll get to her in just a second, but everything
Mush
so
the
far,
fuck out of Gia's face.
everything with Tessa so far has been golden, man. But we're gonna get to that main event. It's Spitfire, Jordynne Grace, and Masha picking up the victory, and I thought a great showcase for the knockouts here. You got the Elegance brand, you got Tasha and Rosemary. Kind of hit on everyone already, but I want to talk about Spitfire. Look, they've come out to crowds being dead silent, and that's not on them. They are literally building something from the ground up. They're keeping a division alive that we want to be alive, but needs that juice, and we don't really have I don't want to say talent. We don't have the
The depth.
amount of talent we need to fill that division and dedicate it, to multiple tag teams. I hope we change that. And I think there's an opportunity as we leave some higher paid people to bring in some people who can be formed as a tag team and to build up as well. But Spitfire's been holding it down. They look like a tag team, they act like it, and they're finally getting some cheers, which I appreciate, and I'm happy for them because it's a hard job to go out there and just try to build something when, you know, we only have a tag team a month, essentially.
This
Um,
division for sure has been hurting, at least to me, since Fire and Flavor.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Man, I
I
miss
thought
them.
there's been some good things. Obviously, we had Kylan King and what were the Coven. They were good, and there were some good things in there.
I
But
hated
just
that.
consistency,
Guyana
consistent.
Chelsea.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. VXT is not there. Um, yeah, there's definitely some good stuff. It just we need consistency and we need more depth, and obviously that's going to be there's only 192 minutes or whatever it is of show, but also it's budget. You gotta form tag teams. You're paying two people to be one entity. I get it. At the same time, Heather and Ash by Elegance and the personal concierge. I love this shit. I eat it with a spoon, and it feels like everything Ash does is just what the old school knockouts were. They were wrestlers, sure, but they're entertainers, man. And every
Yeah.
movement she does, even if she's dancing with Tasha or whatever it is just like or reacting to Rosemary. I love what they do. I really do love what they do. And I'm happy that we got someone who, as we said, is someone who is a talent pretty much unknown, getting thrust into a role next to a veteran and lifting them up on the way to with Heather joining them. So I dig that. Your thoughts on we already talked about the tag, but just in general, this match and the knockouts, what you see.
As far as the elegance brand goes, new age, beautiful people all fucking day.
Yeah, and I hope Zaya when she comes back gets a tag team partner as well because there's a built-in feud right there for the Elegance brand and her, and Spitfire as well. I mean, we could finally get a three-way or a four-corner tag match. So let's
Holy
keep
hell.
building on that. But after the match, your girl, and this is where I'll let you talk a lot about it. This is your
Man,
opportunity to roll
man.
in your victory here. Tessa attacks. We get that full circle feud like we talked about. Also set up, I think, Rosemary and Masha with that missed maybe for Genesis. So win-win by splitting Jordynne and Rosemary. But Tessa's going to attack, and she's here, and she is one of the incoming talent that we're seeing here.
Say it again.
The incoming talent, Tessa signs with Impact.
Yes.
Okay, TNA Wrestling. There you go.
My heart is so happy. Now, dog, how she came in, blasted Jordan in the back. They go out the ring. And see, this is why you can't just read spoilers and know what's going on with TNA because there's a lot of shit you won't see. Like you didn't see them fight in the back. Jordan's getting like Tessa slamming the door into Jordynne.
Mm-hmm.
The brutality, the viciousness that Tessa was showing. Like this is what I was saying. Jordynne dominated the division the last few years as a heel. Now you got Tessa coming in and is about to have like the same aggression, but as a heel, which is going to be turned up even more.
Yeah.
And then she has her shit already by the door, and she fucking grabs her the strap and puts it around Jordan's neck and drags her down the ramp, talking shit. This is my division. I'm taking back my locker room and shut the door on her ass. Damn.
And we talked about maybe not reading the room in that security guard thing. This is definitely reading the room when it comes to her character. Like this is who she needs to be for this to work. She can't come in and be, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I made mistakes in my life." You can't do that, man. We're past that point. You're not going to win over people no matter what you do at this point, and if that's on her or not. I think there's some stories that aren't true that I won't talk about, but especially when it comes to her exit originally. But I think a lot of the stuff, obviously is on her. At the same time, this is the way you have to deal with that. Where we're at right now, with where the point she's at in her life and where we're at a company, make her an ultra heel who don't give a shit about anyone else. And they're accomplishing, man, that. Um, So I'm happy for you. I'm happy for me. I'm happy for the division, man.
I will say this though, I'm kind of not like, I agree with damn near everything she's saying, but when it says that she put the division on the map, it's like, all due respect, Tessa. Like, yes, you dominated the division when you were there, but the division you dominated wasn't that great. I'm just gonna be 100% respectful, especially compared to the division. Yeah, I feel that, and trust me, I feel that as the heel. But still, sometimes you gotta spit some real shit. You can't say nothing that's like, no, bitch, that's false, and it's actually false. Because you look at the division that Jordynne dominated when she did.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a longer span of time and shit, but just in every year by year, the division was way better than the division that Tessa dominated. By the time the knockout division got good, when Tessa was in the company, she was fighting dudes.
It's fair enough. I will say this though, as you said, don't judge it based off spoilers. Let's not judge it because there might be a backstage segment where Jordynne does say the exact thing you're saying now. Do you know what I mean? So maybe we do get that. I just think it's heelish shit for her to say that she carried on the back, but factually speaking, Lucha, you are 100% correct. But that was the show Impact on Access TV. I thought it did a great job of speeding things up, getting it ready for Genesis. We're going to speed it up so we don't take too much longer of your time. Thank you guys for rocking with us. We're going to get right into hot topics. And as we talked about talents incoming, we already talked about some talents leaving. I'll mention a few more if you want to go with that, and then we can say our piece on it. But I want to start with the kind of the Trent Seven. There's a lot of people that got taken off that roster page, from Khan to Trent Seven. Or no, he's still on there, I think, actually. But Aiden Prince, Steph Delander's contract expired as well. Boopinder, our buddy Boopy.
Fucking Sheik freaking Rollins.
Sheik freaking Rollins. So there's a lot of people departing. Aiden Prince, I don't know if I mentioned that. A lot of this, and I don't want to take every situation's different. But when it comes to most of those people we named, there seems to be reasoning for it. So when people say another talent leaves, I'm not saying, oh, these aren't talented people, but I'm just saying where they are in the company, how little they've been on our screens, and in different situations. It is what it is. Obviously we'll talk about Speedball in just a second because that's a little different. But the same with Trent Seven and Rhino, when that thing leaked about the pay cuts, they asked him to take pay cuts and all this stuff. I never squinted an eye and said, oh, they're going to ask Josh to take a pay cut. They're going to ask Jordynne if they ask her to take a pay. They're going to ask the Hardys. It's not what they were doing. What I think when the contracts come up and I say to you, hey, Rhino, we'd like to keep you here and there for some spots. But instead of the 1,500, how about 1,000? We're trying to save some money to re-sign AJ France. I mean, he won't give a shit, but, and this is all hypothetical. We want to use that money to make a big offer to this person. We want to keep AJ Francis in there. We want to bring in Tessa or whoever else we'll talk about in just a second. I don't think there's any harm or foul asking for someone you use in a, I want to say developmental role. I don't know. What's that?
No disrespect, but a body. That's basically what a lot of these cats were, and that's why I laugh at the people who are trying to be like, "Oh, TNA is letting all these people go. What's going on? What's going on?" It's like, bro, we like the ones who's been here in the trenches for a while. We've seen those exact same headlines. Another TNA talent gone, and it be major cats.
Yeah.
That few week span where Hardy's dipped, Drew dipped, who else? EC3 dipped, Bobby's, Joe, they all left.
We can mention multiple different eras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are treating it like it's that, and it's not. You gotta chill the fuck out.
Well, it also, I think, and that's where you could tell where it's a lot of people that aren't up to date on TNA. Because yes, you look at Jordynne, you look at Josh, you look at Speedball, and you say, "Damn, man, that's some big names." But the writing's been on the wall for a lot of them in some different ways, either them teasing with NXT runs or Speedball always kind of just being a guy who goes out there and wrestles. Because I
feel like Speedball was 100% happy with that because he just takes me as a guy that's like, this dude will wrestle 50 times a day if his schedule will allow it.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you. Let's actually talk about him because I think he's a little bit different of a situation. Once again, I think he hasn't done everything that he can accomplish in TNA, but I think it was one of those things where he wanted to go to a bigger platform. The visa thing was an issue. Scott came in and as always, was good with the visas, getting people in here and taking advantage of that, man. And rightfully so. It's not like a taking advantage thing, but
Yeah,
so I think the writing was on the wall that when his contract was up, he was going to go wherever else he can go to make as much money as possible, and rightfully so. He's young, super talented into the ring, um, and I think he'll fit right in with AEW. I, look, you could give him Brass Monkey, and you can, give him a Power Rangers outfit, and it still would not make me think of him as anything other than just great wrestler guy. There's no I don't want to diss him on it's not a diss by any means, just we talk about this. I just think personality wise, he's he's
he's very
cornball.
it's almost he's
Sorry.
almost Goku, dog. Like,
Which is fine, and maybe if we thought he was staying around and they gave him a push, they could have gave him better presentation. But just being a guy who goes out there and yeah, just nods his
I
head
want
and,
to
and
fight.
and just wants to fight is not TNA always is that middle ground. I think Nick Nemeth said it the best. Like you got WWE's considered slower, AEW's considered too fast. We're kind of right in that middle, not only wrestling wise, but entertainment wise. It's not always
Yeah.
stupid storylines and silliness, but it's a great in between. And I don't think Speedball really fits that unless he's Francois, whatever his name is, Baguette. Um,
Yeah,
there's just
shouts out to the homie.
there's just not much personality there. So I think he fits in with AEW. Obviously, a loss. I'm not disregarding that whatsoever. There's probably top five of people I'd like to watch wrestle today. I could watch speedball matches all day. But
I still want Speedball and Gresham as a tag team
would have
and
been
give them
dope,
like
man.
a decent run.
One of their feud where they kept wrestling and everyone's complaining. I was like, you people are on crack. You're on crack. Like they're who doesn't want to see? I don't give a shit. I watch them wrestle each other all day. But yeah, I don't want to take anything away from him whatsoever. But he's going to a place where I think he fits even better. So I'm going to try to look at it as that. Is there anyone on that list or anyone that we haven't mentioned that you're upset that's gone, or I don't know. I don't want to say want to leave. I don't want to go there, but
I mean, the only ones that I'm really like at all hurt about are Josh and Jordynne,
yeah.
but it's not. I don't want to say their replacement is already there and ready, but like they got people who the role that those two filled in their respective divisions, you have the person to take that torch already there. This isn't one of those. This isn't when Drew left and we had to figure out, oh shit, well now who's gonna be the guy?
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Or EC3 left. Oh shit, now who's gonna be the guy? When AJ left and we're like, oh shit, now who's like we
right.
have those answers already.
Yeah, they're
So it kind of lessens the blow a little bit.
dead on, my friend. And it doesn't make it any even speedball. It doesn't make it hurt any less that they're leaving. But I can see that they did the work to put someone in there right behind as their understudy to be ready for this moment and capitalize on them on the way out. If it's Santana with Josh, or it's Tessa with Jordynne, and even Leon with Speedball, like bringing that next guy in who can have bangers we could develop a personality since we know he's going to be here for the long haul kind of thing. And that's where
I'm
I have the.
almost. I didn't even envision Tessa as being the Jordan replacement. That one was already established with Masha for me.
Yeah, Masha as a face man is weird for me. When she was mad at Jordynne because Jordynne didn't tell anyone she could speak English.
Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about
Oh,
that.
okay.
We're not gonna talk about that
Okay.
because I'm right there with you. That was fucking weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
But the match was so damn good. I forgot that the build was so weird.
It was a match of the year winner. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm with you. I know. Look, I'm obviously excluding a lot of people. Like even with Josh, had Hammerstone not been injured, this is the time for Hammerstone to take some TV time. Unfortunately, injured. Could it be Jake something? There's people waiting that can take this spot. I still think Jake something needs a Alpha Bravo or somebody like a Judge Jeff Jones that goes out there and gets everyone hyped for him to come out and then he just fucks shit up.
Judge
Nine
Jeff Jones for
Yeah.
sure.
911 style. I would love that, Mike Awesome style. But there's definitely people waiting, and I think as part of the talents incoming, some of the greatness is what you've already mentioned is we have people lined up ready to take those spots and see if they can run with them. So I have down here, I have Tessa, I have Sinner and Saint. I have Casey Navarro for me, who I think if AJ were to turn on him viciously and go to that other kind of Suge Knight character that we talk about off screen sometimes, he could be great in a new LAX. Casey Navarro is a fucking godsend from just coming in when he came in and just kind of slipping in and not feeling like it was a big deal, right? Because Rich had gone and we needed some, to being someone who I think is going to be a huge player in this next year, um, and has really come up, man. I
Hell,
had
if Rich comes back and we get like Rich, Casey, and AJ holding down first class, and you got Rich and Casey as the tag team, another tag team that could like help boost the depth of the division.
I love Rich. I wish him all the best, and I hope he's back in wrestling as soon as possible. Another person, though, off the roster page, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens there. I'm laughing, though, because I think you'll appreciate this. Where I wrote Leon, I'm writing all the names of the people who have come in through this year that could use that, that spotlight. I put Leon
Yeah.
Rose. I meant Leon Slater, but I was obviously Knicks. Um, Lei
Go New
Young.
York.
Is it Lei Young Lee or Lee Yang Lee?
Wei Ying Lee.
Okay. Signed as well, and I think she can take a spot there, definitely in the division. Heather by Elegance. So we have some people that are
We got a Savannah Evans
Savannah Evans is back.
popping back up.
What about Kylan King when she's back and healthy? Hopefully that's sooner rather than later. I mean, that's someone who we thought we gave our uh, look who's coming next year kind of
Didn't
awards
she
before.
win? Didn't she win that legit last year?
Oh, for them as
I,
well in TNA.
I'm
I think
pretty sure.
I think Boopy was last year. Boopinder was I thought the person they
Ain't no
gave to.
fucking way. Ain't no
Uh,
fucking way.
I don't know. Either way, though, we'll get to AJ Francis re-signing, but I think there's also an opportunity here for us to bring in some TNA vets who aren't really in the cycle of professional wrestling right now on the regular that could come in here and fill a spot for that TNA lore. You know what I mean? Like there's a Shark Boy, like you said. I don't know if it's him, but I saw
James
Homicide pop up
fucking
ROH and I was
Storm.
upset. Yes, I have them here. I think AMW and they're starting to take some matches. I think we could see them at Genesis. I also think we
Bro,
could see.
I'll fucking cry. Yo, AMW versus Hardy's. Give me it. I want it in my life. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I have them. I have them there, and obviously these aren't on that lower end of TNA vets because AMW is a big damn deal. But them and of course I have AJ Styles who was backstage, possibly finally coming through. You don't get these big venues and not have something up your sleeve. I'm sorry, you don't. And I know I toot that AJ horn a lot, and it's obviously manifesting it or wishful thinking. I think there's a play there. So I think we could see TNA vets come and fill these voids. I believe Mustafa Ali comes back 100%.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about pay cuts and saving money here and there, nickel and diming, I think they're going to use it on some really special people. Some younger cats they bring in to fill some voids and to start refilling that farm system, if you will, but also giving people like Mustafa Ali a big payday. And maybe, what's it, Zillow Fatu, who there's a lot of rumblings about? Maybe
Fourth rope world champion.
some blue chippers as well. Let's talk about AJ Francis, and then we'll get into the 23 question really quick. How happy are you that AJ re-signed, and did you really think he was going to go anywhere else?
I mean, I felt like there would have been a chance he has a. Honestly, I was on some shit. He's most definitely going back. It was either WWE or TNA. Wanted him to stay in TNA for my own selfish fandom reasons, but I didn't really look at AEW. Well, I don't know, because he could have went over to AEW and lined up with Swerve.
That's true. That's true. I'm laughing because he put out AJEW, and I was like,
Yeah, that one didn't even
uh.
sound cool, dog. I ain't like that one at all.
MJF was somewhere saying that's gimmick infringement, man. Take it away. Take it away.
AJEW. Nah, I won't. I won't. Nah, it wouldn't work. Wait, he go to New Japan and call himself AJPW? Like,
Oh, I'm choking on my words. God's smiting me. Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Look, I'm obviously someone who needed to be sold on him. When they brought him in for the reboot, I was like, man, this is one of those swings right up there with the AAA signing that Scott did. Those weird things Scott would do. Um, but he's come in and not only has brought people that we would never have saw on our screen, I don't think, unless he was there. Um,
And when I saw fucking DJ Who Kid,
right,
2004 me was like, oh shit,
right.
G Unit, we back.
You know,
Hell yeah.
and for that, it's cool. I like that. But also, I told you this before. It's like, and not to compare him to Macho Man whatsoever, but in that regards where Eric Bischoff always talked about Macho Man coming to WCW, his Slim
For
Jim ad
free.
was his Slim Jim money was paying for his contract. Am I saying him going on McAfee or ESPN or this or that is, TMZ, whatever, is paying for it? No, but that dude represents TNA everywhere he goes. He is the antithesis of Hulk Hogan when he was with us. So I respect the work he does for the brand. Did I think he was going to get a big payday elsewhere? No. Has he stepped up and really proven himself? Yes. Um, once again, I want First Class to get a good run, but I would love for him to turn it up just a little bit eventually, beat the shit out of Casey Navarro, and just become that suit wearing more less goofy Matt Morgany like big guy. And that's not a knock on him. I like my big guys to be
Here's
serious.
the only thing about that that kind of makes that a dangerous thing to do though.
Mm.
Wouldn't that basically make him exactly what MVP is doing in age of with Lashley and Shelton Benjamin?
Is that what he did in TNA with the BDC? Same thing.
Well, if it's the same players, that's different. You can do that. But
That's
if it's
fair.
different players,
Look,
that's when it gets a little
bro,
crazy.
every character has been done. It's about who does it
That's
best,
also that's also fair. But
and
you
so
don't
I
want to
think
do it. You don't want to do it at the same time because then there's going to be that.
I'll have to peep what MVP's doing because I don't know how what's in my head for what I want AJ to do is similar to that or not because I haven't watched it. But I just think there's different avenues he could take, and either way, he's definitely a helping hand, and I'm happy to have him, man. Do I want him to win the world title? No, but do I think he can please take the belt off PCO and do something with that belt that that should have more lineage and continuity? I think so. By the way, on a side note, throw away that international title. I don't. What is with this shit, man? Um, I don't get it. But with that being said, 23 has been coming out, or this Who is 23 thing every time PCO is out with Sammy Callahan. Don't know who it's for. Is it for PCO? Is it for Sammy? Is it for both of them? What's your initial thoughts on Who is 23 and when they're going to appear?
So when they first started running these 23 videos, it was at the Fayetteville Loop that I was there for,
Okay.
and after the shit was over, both nights there was a Michael Jordan chant. So
It's Mike.
it was like, "Who's 23?" And then like a couple seconds later, Michael Jordan.
That's good.
But I'm of the belief it's either well, no, because here's the thing you got to think about is however the visual looks.
Mm,
Listen to what the video says. Like 23 is just a number.
right.
So it's not necessary for people trying to figure out who 23 is. The number has absolutely nothing to do with
No
it. It's
value.
just a number. Yeah. Other than that's the day of the live episode.
Yeah, we talked about this. It's the 23rd is the live episode on the 23rd year of TNA Wrestling. So I think it's more so along those lines. But overall, is there someone you're zoning in or honing in on?
Honestly, I want to give you a top three, but I don't know who the other two in the three would be. But one
Yeah.
of them is for sure Sammy. I feel like it is Sammy.
Oh, you think Sammy's playing PCO? You know, I
Yeah.
I have that on my list of wishful thinking because I think that would be really smart. We don't know who this is for, and I think it'd be smart for Sammy to take that belt off him as well, because that belt just needs some kind of relevance, and it's just sitting there, literally. Um, so I thought that would be a really cool idea. But as far as if it's someone coming in, I was hoping Penta, obviously, but I heard there's drops of hints of him going to WWE because I thought it would be like a Hardy's like thing, Matt waiting for Jeff to get out of his contract with AEW. Penta could wait for Phoenix to get out of his because then obviously there's that history with Sammy and Penta. But I think BC 2-3 Baron Corbin makes a lot of sense. I'm not a fan of the dude. Um, and I hate to use this analogy, but I put him in that AJ Francis boat of, ex football players that become wrestlers that it doesn't feel maybe natural in the beginning. So I'm hoping I'm proven wrong, just like I was with AJ Francis. But I can definitely see Baron Corbin being that guy as well. My only concern is that when we get these guys who are on the fringe, sometimes you luck out and you get an AJ Francis who turns it on, but sometimes you get an Aaron Rex who just after the debut you're like, why? So I'm hoping whoever it is they do right by and they do right by us.
Yeah, that Aaron Rex. God, I try to forget that as much as possible. Like that promo and the week after, it was cool. Actually, it was kind of cool all the way until he won the fucking grand championship.
Yeah, it was weird, man. There's always so much you could do after that hype train was gone, of people wanting him to. And there's that thin line, but yeah, I'm interested to see who comes aboard here. I think that live episode is a good sign as far as just in general that something's coming. It's a good sign that we're booking these LA and NY venues. I will be there at the IBS Arena. I didn't mess it up. It is the IBS Arena. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. But it is big. It's the home of the Islanders, as you mentioned. LA is the home of USC, right?
USC, yeah, the basketball team.
So we're doing big things, and I'm gonna try to squeeze this in so we can wrap up, keep this timeline shorter. I don't know. Anyways, but we're doing business, and as we mentioned before, Matt Hardy mentioned 2025 is gonna be big for us. We got that Canada deal. So that's huge for our distribution in Canada. We just got a new one that just came across about New England Sports Network. The times aren't great. I think they're 12 to 2 on Saturday afternoons and then 12 to 2 mornings and Sunday nights or something like that. So not the greatest, but hey, it shows that Anthem is willing to sell the rights to other people coming in. Um, I wouldn't be surprised, and I know this is weird, but I wouldn't be surprised if TNA is eventually on CW. And with NXT already being there and us having that brand thing, yes, it's me hoping, maybe wishful thinking, but it would just, the money is there to do an invasion angle right. And to have both shows tune on Tuesdays, tune in Thursdays, and you have crossover like an invasion should happen. Why wouldn't CW want to pick up all the ratings in that regard? So I think there's going to be a lot of great things coming this year, and those venues are one of them and whatever the roster is by then to fill those seats. I think we'll get it. So we got that, and then the live episodes, the merch deal, the Canada deal. I mean, are you hyped for this year coming up, or are you walking on eggshells? Are you?
I mean, I'm hyped for it. I don't want to be too hyped to where
Mm,
when stuff starts to go south, or if stuff goes south, I'm like, wait, no, everything was so good,
right.
because we know how the wrestling game works, especially when it comes to TNA. Like shit can drop in a heartbeat, and then it kind of sets us back a little bit. But I'm hopeful for what coming into this year looks more hopeful than how it was coming into last year,
Oh, for sure.
because there was a lot of like the same talk of, hey, we got this thing happening, but then not a lot of proof of.
Yeah, we don't get Braun for glory, Lucha. I mean, how how upsetting that we don't get Braun for glory, Braun for glory. Um,
Or uh Jericho for glory.
oh yeah, I was there for that
Bound
one in New York.
bound for Jericho.
I will be there for Slammiversary at the IBS venue. I'm very excited for that. Um, Me and Johnny are gonna make the track there, so I'm excited. I
I'm
just
undecided.
oh, you thinking about it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Look, I do want to mention that because people are complaining about the ticket prices. The people that complain about the ticket prices are the same people complaining about the pay cuts. You got to feed your people, you got to charge a certain value. And not only does it make me the ticket prices for me say, "Oh, damn, that's obviously expensive," sure, But then my second thought is, okay, if they're charging this much and they're getting this big of arena, they think they can fill it. Why? That's what I'm most excited about. So I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to hear about this. Ticket price included. Like I just think we're gonna see the genesis of the new TNA, and I'm excited to be here for it. Um, but before we go, I don't know if there's anything else you want to get to. I know we said we'd talk about Genesis. I hope we weaved throughout there. Right now, it looks like Nick Nemeth versus Joe Hendry, Hardy's versus Rascals, Moose versus Ace Austin. And I would say, and this is no spoiler, so we could be wrong, but I'm guessing Masha Rosemary, Josh versus Santana, and Jordynne versus Tessa. So Genesis is going to be off the hook no matter what.
Maybe if it's a pre-show or a regular card, Leon Slater, Kaz.
There you go. Oh, Spitfire versus the Elegance brand as well.
Maybe
So,
a trios or some form of system versus EY,
yep.
Macklin, Gresh.
And then, of course, an X Division showcase as well. There's going to be stuff, but either way, this is a Genesis that's shaping up to be some really exciting stuff. And then obviously the live episode right after. So, um, guys, I appreciate you watching this. I appreciate you watching Impact and sticking with it, man. I think we're in for a great, great year, and I hope we could have maybe shined a little light on the great stuff that's happening compared to all the negative and thinking doom and gloom as a lot of people generally do with this company. Think we're on the precedence of something big, and um, none of this matters in the grand scheme of things. And I say that because down below you could see Chris Bay's GoFundMe and everything else. I don't know if you guys can read it, but go to tnawrestling.com and see what you could do for him, man. All the love and same with the Jack Stain thing. There's not enough we can say that is going to make it feel how it should. But man, go take care of this dude. Um, Fucking horrible situation. And I wish and I pray for the best for him, man. Such a talented kid. But Lucha, you got anything you want to end us off on?
As always, shout out Diamond Villains, shout out Mike G, shout out Craig, Mr.
Oh,
Impact. Always love me some Craig.
yeah.
It's
Dr. Lambert.
Yes, shout out to the homies. Make sure y'all go check their stuff out. It felt real good to get back in the treehouse with you and do some bullshit. Nice little treehouse trailer to the treehouse theater.
Yeah, keep tuned in for that, guys. Keep a lookout. We'll definitely get into that sometime. I think we want to go back and watch the Asylum years from episode 1 on and have a smoke, have a talk, and have a laugh, man, and get into enjoying this again. Can't promise you when. Got a lot of things going on, but excited to be back with you guys and you, Lucha, obviously, as well, man. Oh, one thing. The one good thing about technical difficulties, Lucha, and I mentioned in the beginning.
Oh
I
shit!
found my. It fits. It fits. Oh, my Desmond shirt.
Here,
All
that's
right, guys.
fire.
Check out tnamerch.com. Go check out the GoFundMe for Chris Bay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming out. God bless and good night. Goodbye, everybody.
This is.